What's happening, people? I'm here with the main man.
It's the champ.
Make sure you tune into Pep Talk UK, where it talks boxing and
big up.
Thank you, AJ.
Pep Talk UK.
Ladies and gents, for the fight fans locked in, for the football fans locked in, now it's time for some real talk on Pep Talk. Let's go.
Everyone talk good game, but it don't really faze me. The man that ain't mad like Max, the boy that not murky like Ace B. And them guy walk this line on the back, balling like a baby.
Oi, oi, welcome to the Pep Talk UK Sports Podcast, the podcast that talks the major boxing and football news from around the globe, real points of view from a real panel. Hashtag real talk on Pep Talk. Please subscribe to Pep Talk UK on iTunes and YouTube. Don't forget to like, share and comment. Now I'm your host, Frankie B. I've got a very special guest joining me today. He's back in the building. He's the Commonwealth champ. It's Luke the Duke Watkins. How you doing, my G?
Yes, Frankie. All's good, all's good. How are you?
Doing well. You know, we thought we'd invite you on. I know you've got some exciting news for the listeners.
Of course, I've got exciting news fresh off the press today. It has been announced I have been made mandatory for the EU title, European title, which is a great step, a step in the right direction of my career and what I'm doing.
All right, so potentially, who could you be fighting potentially?
It's being made with a man called Fabio Turchi, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He's 14-0 with 11 stoppages, so it already sounds exciting.
Well, talk about starting the year with a bang. Wasn't there talk having some domestic dust-ups? I saw you in IFL talking about talks with Okoli. This is quite
That's
interesting.
Correct.
Maybe your pass will meet a little bit later down the line.
I promise you I'll pass all across. I'm a man of my word, and I see him being a man of his word. We both want to fight, and obviously it's got to be right for both parties, so he obviously feels that he's got some other things that he needs to deal with, and obviously I'm not going to be sat down waiting for him. I've got my own agenda. So I'm going to keep moving forward. He's going to move forward. But we was having a little bit of banter the other night on Twitter, and I believe how many fights he had? 8?
8 fights.
8 fights, yeah. So he was saying the other day maybe I'll be his 9th or 10th fight. That's cool. So contact me when we're ready. They've got my number. We can do business.
Yeah. And to be honest, you're a bit further down your career. 28 now. So, I mean, for you, really, you want to just really crack on now, achieve what you need to achieve in the game, and do you know what I mean? It goes as far as you can. Okoli's a bit younger, so I suppose for you, you just got to really motor on.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, I'm in it for me. I'm not in it for anyone else. And it's just sticking to doing what I want to do and what's best for me as the fighter. And as long as I'm happy in the sport, things are good.
What about, wasn't there, again, talk of Camacho happening? What happened with that?
There was never talks from my side of Camacho happening. He fought in an eliminator, not a final eliminator. There is a big difference between the two. He boxed Danny Cousins and beat him. But at this moment, and he is no disrespect to him, he's behind me and I'm looking forward. And if he becomes my mandatory, then I'll fight him. Like I said, I'll knock him out, I'll deal with him, I'll do what I've got to do, and I'll move on.
There's a bit of bad blood there between you and Camacho, yeah?
Nah, no bad blood.
Just business.
I just say things. Yeah, I just say things how it is, and I say what I believe. And I think you can ask anyone that's ever met me. I don't badmouth no one. I got nothing bad to say about anyone. So I mean, we're all in this together. Without them, and without myself, this don't happen. We all need each other because we need these fights, and we make the fights happen. So
really, in terms of 2018, I mean, what would you say is the actual plan for this year?
Become the British champion and the European champion.
Wow. Big things are going, yeah?
Big things are going.
Right, we're joined by Pascal. Pascal's in the building.
Oui. Sorry about the delay, was rushing from work, but I'm in the building.
Yes, and we're joined by Luke the Duke.
Luke, enchanté. Nice to meet you.
Enchanté, Pascal.
Yes. And it's just fitting Pascal's coming at the right time because we need to talk about this Triple G and Canelo cancellation. Now, Luke, you're an athlete, and in your own right, has justice been served?
Yeah, I think, negligence or playing ignorant is not cool. You can't play that. We're athletes, we're professionals, we have responsibilities of what we do. You can't be doing that, you can't be asked to meet. Come on, how many people in Mexico have used that excuse? It's done. They have to draw the line somewhere. And unfortunately, it's with Canelo, but at least now I think people in the future will think twice and think, oh, I'll use the oldest excuse in the book.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, it was 10 times over the limit, wasn't it? 10 times.
Yeah, 10 chickens.
10 Mexican steaks, yeah? But
exactly.
A lot of people out there, the word out there is, look, if you're fighting Triple G, you need something, mate, but it hasn't gone about the right way.
But the first fight was not a bad performance from Canelo. He did gas.
Yeah.
He fought a good fight. But Triple G took some of his bad shots and still carried on coming forward. And I think that created a bit of doubt in Canelo's mind because some of the shots that he was throwing would have knocked down at least anybody half a man. That. Triple G is, and I think there was some concern in the rematch that Triple G would probably try to look for the KO himself. But I'm a bit disappointed by Canelo and by Golden Boy and by the people advising Canelo because they should have made sure that Canelo had the best preparation for that fight. And some of the best fighters in boxing, none of them anyway, as far as we are concerned, have been caught with these doping allegations. So it seems to me that Canelo, being a Mexican fighter, has to fight a lot of prejudice coming from those countries. There's always a bit of question marks about Mexican fighters and how they are prepared in those countries. And the fact that now he's been, proven to be found guilty of performing on substances will tarnish his career because now every fight that he's won before, people are going to wonder, has he been under some kind of PEDs before the fight, and then after that fight, when he gets to fight another opponent, and if he does win, people are going to have question marks about his performance. And we saw that when Povetkin was found guilty of performing on his drugs, that also wasn't too much of a shock because being that he's from Russia, unfortunately they've had a history of doping their athletes, but it does tarnish the sport of boxing. The sport itself is already dangerous, and for athletes to use performance,
someone's life at risk, aren't you?
It's not correct, So I think that the ban is a justified ban. Whether or not Canelo claims his innocence, unfortunately he pays a lot of money to a lot of people to ensure that he has the best nutrition, to have the best preparation, and I think that he needs to look into his corner and the people in his team and maybe discipline a few people.
I mean, Luke, how do you kind of prepare for your fights in terms of your nutrition and your supplements? I mean, what's the process with you?
I use all-informed sport supplements if I'm supplementing, and food-wise, I just shop organic, aim for British food or European food. I've checked out the laws of food and how things are meant to be deemed organic. I don't eat meat, so for me,
you're vegetarian. Wow.
I would buy the plants.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm a plant-based athlete, and I use all-informed sports supplements, and so I ain't got to worry about no steak getting in my system.
Hey,
that's that.
Oh, crackers! What did you think, by the way, on another topic of AJ's performance against Joseph Parker? Some people were a bit critical, but I watched it in the stadium and I watched it at home. And I must say, the second time I watched it, I appreciated a little bit more what AJ was trying to do in there,
I thought it was great. I thought it was class. I thought he showed a real mature, seasoned professional performance, you know. From spectators and fan, you know, just strictly fans, we do want to see blood. We do want to see that share. We want to see knockouts. We do.
It's more the casuals, isn't it, that just want straight knockout. They don't actually appreciate the art form, you know.
Exactly.
Boxing behind the jab.
That. Yeah, and I thought he showed a real good understanding of distance, staying behind his jab and sticking to a game plan. I thought he was class. I really do.
And Pascal, should we credit Joseph Parker? I mean, he got hit with a few shots, but he's right. He don't go down, mate. You know, you can see why.
I felt that, you know, Joseph Parker fought on the back foot. So to me, he fought a negative fight. And Parker, I think, knew within the first 3 rounds that he was in there for a very long night and a tough night. And I think that he didn't want to be knocked out, and he wanted to preserve his so-called, you know, unblemished record of not being knocked down or knocked out by anybody. So I felt that as the challenger and as the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to unify the division, he should have come in a bit more aggressively. And I felt that perhaps the key for him was to have gone to the body and to try and work AJ to the body. And the referee played a very bad part in my opinion. I felt that, you know, he didn't allow the fighters to engage. And we know that AJ has a bit of an inside, you know, can fight on the inside. He's very good at throwing the uppercut, and I expected a bit more of that inside fighting. And also AJ being the bigger heavyweight fighter could have leaned on the chest of Parker, tiring him and maybe giving him the opportunity to find some angles and to maybe knock him down. So I think the referee didn't manage the fight properly, in my opinion. But credit to AJ, you know, he worked beautifully behind the jab. I felt that the jab was very crisp, you know, and also the fact that he came in lighter, you know, in this fight gave him more mobility, and I think, and I hope that he stays at that weight.
He was preparing for 12 rounds, wasn't he? He was preparing for that by dropping the weight.
He certainly was, and I think that Carlos Takam fight was a blessing in disguise for him, because had he not fought Takam and had he stayed, you know, the bigger heavyweight, it would have been a much more difficult night for AJ, because towards the end I believe that Team Parker wanted to try to catch AJ towards the end of the fight, but fortunately for them, AJ didn't look like he even been in a 12-round fight. He looked very, very composed.
Yeah, he looked quite fresh, a bit like Luke. When Luke's in the wars, you know, Luke just, it looks like he hasn't even been in a fight at all. Alright,
I'll take that as a compliment.
Now it's interview time, and this week both Shaz and myself have a different type of interview this week. We speak to a former boxer, now turned musicians, doing some good things in music. Let's hear from the music extraordinaire, Richy Rambo.
Oi, it's your boy Frankie B. I'm joined with my good mate, Mr. Shaz Smack. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. And we've got the honour today of linking up with a musician. He goes by the name of Richy Rambo. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. How you guys doing?
Doing all good, mate. I'm doing all good now. I know you got a couple of bangers out there. Mother Teresa, how's that doing out there?
Yeah, Mother Teresa's getting a good reception. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to release it on Mother's Day, but people are appreciating the illustration and the visuals behind the project.
London to Congo.
The next banger.
Yeah, London to Congo, basically that Mother Teresa song there, it's just a little insight of my journey, because I felt like my first song, Amsterdam, which was a bit like yeah, we're here, but Mother Teresa's a bit of background check, where I've come from. That's what in the video, there's scenes of where I grew up, Deptford, scenes of the flat I used to live in, and there's also scenes of me training in the boxing gym, illustrating my boxing journey.
Now, you know I love my boxing, Richie. I know you predominantly as a boxer. I know you got this different life with the music, and that's why Frankie B is here with us to talk to you about the music, but I know you for the boxing. I know you as a talented amateur, spoken highly of. You used to be around one of my mates. I first bumped into you on a tube with my mate Umar Sadiq by chance, and I know you as a boxer. Tell me about your boxing.
You know what? Boxing was love at first sight. The moment I put gloves on and I started training hard, I fell in love with it straight away, and I had aspirations to be the best. I was fortunate enough to travel the world. I've been to Gleason's in New York for sparring. I sparred world champions. I've had the privilege of sparring champions in the UK such as George Groves, Anthony Yard. So yeah, boxing was a big part of my life, and the moment I felt like I was unable to give it 100% anymore, I felt like, you know, it's not fair in the sport, or I just rather like leave it alone.
So how hard was it for you to make that transition from boxing to music? I mean, what's the difference?
Do you know what?
It's a lot easier, isn't it, than running at 5 a.m. in the morning?
Yeah, you know what?
Training twice a day.
It's a big transition, and I wouldn't say it's easier, because they're both hard, because they both require your time and effort. If you don't put your time and effort in either of them, you won't see any results. But do you know what? I was fortunate for me. The transition wasn't too difficult, because growing up, music was a major part of my life. The school kids, we all used to just make up lyrics, have a little fun in the studio. So that wasn't too hard. Obviously, the pain of knowing that my arm's never going to be raised again in the ring, that was quite emotional. And just looking back at all the time I invested in the sport. But you know what? I have no regrets, because there's certain experiences and lessons I've learned from being a boxer that are priceless.
I think the first one would have to be discipline, because Richie, I'm looking at you now, and like you're supposed to be ballooning, eating loads of stuff, but it looks like you're ready to jump in the ring tomorrow, brother. Are you still training? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm always still training. I'm not gonna sit and say I still run 5 times a week, but I always still get the odd runs in. I do sprints. A few of my mates are still active boxers, professionals actually, such as Uma Sadiq, Archie Sharp, Ryan Walker. So whenever I can, I jump in sessions with them, go for runs, bit of sparring, bit of bag work. So I'm always active.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you doing a bolt and walking someone out. I'm not going to reveal who, but I'm going to let you do the honours.
Yeah, me and Archie had a few words. He heard the new music, and Archie Sharp was interested in me doing his ring walk for one of his upcoming fights. I'm not able to announce yet, but if that fight does take place, you can look forward to seeing me walking them out.
So in terms of the music, what type of artists did you look up to?
Growing up, I listened to like the Jay-Z's and the 50 Cents and stuff, but the way music has changed so much in the UK,
yeah, there's a lot of talent out there now.
There's so much. It's allowed me to embrace my African culture in my own sound as well. I know East London was able to kind of like pave the way in terms of like the Afro swing, Afrobeat kind of sound.
Even
so
grime, innit?
Even grime as well.
It started with like Kano, Gets,
literally
Wiley, the godfather of grime.
All those legends there. So literally, I just take influences from all kind of sounds I listen to, and I try to add my own twist to it to keep my uniqueness with my sound.
What have you got in the pipeline? What's coming next?
So next in the pipeline, we've got a variety of songs that we've made, but we just need to sit down and decide which one we want to shoot a video for next. So the plan is to shoot a video around the end of April, early May. So mid-May we should have another video out, more on like the summery vibe, something you can dance to, have a drink to, drive to, something a bit more up-tempo to match the season.
And if people want to listen out for your music, how do they do it? What can they do?
Well, if you want to listen out to my music, you can find me on all social platforms with Richy Rambo. That's RICHY_RAMBO.
Rambo's not your surname, is it?
He likes the film, man.
No, Rambo isn't my surname. I felt like, and a lot of artists, what they do when they do give themselves aliases, their alias is far from their real name, anyways. But my actual name is Richie, and Rambo is the name that stuck with me through boxing, and I wanted to keep the boxing intertwined. So I decided to stick with the name.
I'll tell you what, I've seen you in the ring, and I can verify that you don't take no prisoners in the ring.
It's definitely first blood, you know.
Yeah, nah, you know, to be honest, maybe one day, but I'd love to get back in the ring again, maybe for like a charity event, or I'm always open to events like that. I just love the sport.
Tell me what weight you're coming in at, because I'll either go up or down in weight. I ain't fighting you.
Well, you know what, life's crazy. As an amateur, I struggle to make 69 kilos, but now I'm in the studio 24/7. I walk around at about 70 kilos. I don't know how to do it.
Enjoying that good jollof rice, yeah?
You know, it's crazy. Yeah. I think because I train less, my appetite is less. I maintain this weight. But when I was training and active, I was ballooning like
fuel,
literally. I was looking like Hitman.
Now, before we sign off, Richie, I want to give a special shout out to a very young, beautiful lady that's been a part of this interview, and people will be able to hear her in the background. We're not going to edit out. That's your lovely little daughter. Tell us about her.
Yeah, so with us, we have the pleasure of the company of my daughter, Amelia. Yeah, so she plays a major part in my transition from boxing to music. For me, I felt like with boxing I had to give it 100%, and by me giving 100% would have required me not to be able to work and earn enough money to be able to provide for her. So I just decided to make the decision of going back into work and going into music, and music allows me to be more like a full-time father than I would have been if I decided to pursue professional boxing. So yeah, so if we ever hit any number ones, we'll give her all the credit.
Well, listen, when she's a little bit older, I'm gonna send her this track. I'm gonna send her this interview and say you were a major part of this interview. How's that sound?
Sounds wicked, man. I'm sure she'll appreciate it.
And when you get that number one, you'll have the champagne, she'll have the milk.
Literally, literally, man. It's crazy.
Cool. Well, Richie, as always, it's been a pleasure. We at Pep Talk are going to be listening out for your music. Anything we can do will be along the journey to support you from rags to riches, going all the way up, baby. Cream rises to the top.
Literally. I just want to big up Pep Talk for taking the time out to do this interview with me. Check them out. They're doing their thing at Pep Talk on all social platforms. They're doing big things right now. So yeah, if you want to book me, you heard the social media, just get in touch and we can make it happen. I just want to get myself out there, raise awareness, and just get this show on the road.
Thank you, my guy. Thank you.
Cracking stuff. Thank you, Richie. All the best of the music. Okay, cool. Now it's football time. So, the Premier League's about to be decided. Pascal, Man City will take on Manchester United. There's a chance for Man City to put one over on their neighbours and actually clinch the title at the home ground. Now, how do you see this one? I mean, to be fair, City have played some magnificent football this season, really truly deserving of the Premier League crown, whether it's this weekend or whether it's next weekend. They've been a credit to the Premier League, my friend.
They certainly have. You know, they reminded me of, you know, when you have the 10,000 meters and you have those 2 or 3 athletes that decide to go for it and to run away with it and to carry on all the way through. They run this like, the Kenyan athletes run 10,000 meters, or the way that Mo Farah wins the 5 and 10,000 meters. You know, they were very impressive from the very start of the season. They pressed, they decided to put their foot on the gas. And it's paying off. A lot of us, even ourselves, during the various podcasts, we felt that City would slow down, and City would lose momentum. But Guardiola has prepared his team very, very well, and they are exemplary athletes. And it's not a coincidence that they're sitting at the top of the Premier League with 84 points.
And they've only lost one game. I mean, they've almost been invincible. Apart from that defeat to Liverpool, they've been very consistent. They've scored the most goals. They've conceded the least amount of goals.
Yes.
All credit to Man City. And Guardiola, he came in the season before. They didn't do too great, but he had a look at the players. He had a look at what they needed. And yeah, okay, he's got the checkbook, but he managed to put together the team correctly, and they're very balanced, they're very creative, they're very attacking. They win the ball back quickly, they can defend. To be fair to Guardiola, he's done what he needed to do in the right way.
He certainly has. I mean, what's impressive is that it is believed that they could potentially win the most amount of points ever in the Premier League if they carry on that way. But, if you look at the head-to-head against Manchester United, they've all played 31 games. City have won 27, Manchester United have won 21. City have drawn 3, and Manchester United have drawn 5. City have only lost 1, whereas Manchester United has lost 5. So when you even see the level of quality, Manchester United are not a Mickey Mouse team. They're still a very good side. They have some very good players, and even with those results, under any other circumstances, Manchester United will still be challenging for the title. But Manchester City have just been outstanding, extraordinary. And Pep Guardiola, as you said yourself, Frankie B, first came into the league not understanding, maybe getting his feet wet, as they say, try to figure out how to strengthen his team, and he has done that remarkably well. And I think for me, there are some standout players that we have to single out. Raheem Sterling was incredible, has been exceptionally good this season, a lot better than we expected. He's shown a lot of maturity, and also Guardiola has given him a bit of finishing to his game. How many times have we seen Raheem Sterling to score the winning goal within 5 minutes to go, and Sterling is on the scoring sheet. Leroy Sané, for me, was one of my favourite players.
Phenomenal. Oh, and originally when he came to City, I must say, I said to myself, what's all this hype about this player, Sané? He looked a bit basic, but once he settled down, and he's worked hard in the team, he tracks back, his dribbling is exceptional, he's got pace, he can come inside, he can go outside. He is that talent that people talked about at Schalke.
Wonderful player. I mean, he's good at holding the ball, good at chesting the ball, good dribbling, as you say, athletic player. He's got pace, he's got good finishing, he's got good vision. He's certainly the new type of winger that is needed in the Premier League and at international level. But also, let's not forget Prince Harry, aka Kevin De Bruyne.
That's right.
I mean,
KVB.
He certainly is probably the best player in that team, and also we still, remember Aguero. Aguero is still very much the consistent striker, finisher in that team, and for me he's not looked out of place since he's joined, from Atletico Madrid. He's still that top striker, and I would love him
at any team. Goals to games ratio, hasn't he, in the Premier League?
He's a formidable player, very short, low center of gravity, good at taking on attackers, very good at playing off behind the defenders, finds himself in very good attacking positions. I mean, you cannot fault that, and he's not your quintessential centre forward, particularly not the type that that is synonymous with the English Premier League, but he's certainly just as effective as any big centre forward.
So if you're Man United and you're Mourinho, exactly how do you approach this game? I would park the bus, spoil the party, and let them win it against somebody else.
You're absolutely correct, Frankie B. The last thing that Mourinho needs is a defeat at the hands of the bitter rivals that is Manchester City, and let them win the Premier League title. It is something that even the Manchester United fans will not forgive him for. It's never happened in a very long time during those two's history, and it's just as bad as Arsenal winning the Liga at Hart Lane. That's what it would be like. And Manchester United, I believe, will have to make the game very ugly, very negative, trying to break the rhythm of Manchester City game out, and it could quite easily be a 0-0 game, Frankie B. It's one of those games where you can actually see a lot of negative football, a lot of time wasted on Manchester United's part, just to make sure that they don't score a goal, But at the same time, Pep Guardiola will look at, trying to wrap up the league as quickly as possible so that he can prepare his team for the Champions League, because he's still very much he's got a good opportunity against Liverpool. He's also got a good opportunity to prepare the rest of the season and also to ensure that Manchester City finish with maximum points. So from Manchester City point of view, believe me, they will try to go and win that game and try to clinch those most important 3 points and back that title. For Jose Mourinho, he will do as much as he can to ensure that Manchester United do not lose that game. Whether or not he will go there to win is a different story. I do not believe that Mourinho needs to win that game, but I believe that Mourinho will do whatever he can to damage limitations.
Salvage a bit of pride. Yeah. I mean, for Man United, they started really well. I remember they were scoring loads of goals initially, then they started wasting chances. The goals start to dry up. They've got a few issues. Bailly got injured for quite a while. Then they were left with Smalling and Phil Jones at the back, and if you're going to win a title, you need better centre backs than that. And then Sanchez, yes, Rashford missed a load of chances if you remember as well. Sanchez came in mid-season, so what Mourinho's saying, after that big tirade that he had during that press conference the other day, their team's still in transition, but they were nowhere near City anyway. I did believe from the beginning that City, if they could get the gel right, they were the outstanding favourites for the league. Chelsea, again, internal strife. Arsenal's had internal strife for the past 10 years. Let's be honest. The Wenger in, Wenger out brigade, that still rumbles on. Liverpool, for me, with a few defensive reinforcements for next season, goalkeeper, another centre back when Naby Keita comes in, maybe another full back, left back. They are going to be, for me, the most likely to challenge Man City next season. That's if Pep doesn't spend another 300 million.
I mean, look, Frankie, I know that it's a bit too early to talk about the transfer, but, there are rumours. I heard a lot of rumours today that Manchester City are planning to buy Isco. There's apparently they want to bring Isco to the Etihad Stadium. There's also big rumors flying around on the internet where they believe that Mohamed Salah could potentially be a United target for 175 million. So there's a lot of there's going to be some very, very big transfers this summer, particularly from the Manchester sides, because Manchester United have to mount a title challenge next season. They're going to have to at least be in the running for that title a lot closer to May 2019 than they have done this year, because unfortunately for them, it was a foregone conclusion very early that Manchester City were going to win the league. No one looked like they were going to catch them, and Mourinho is under a lot of pressure from Manchester United fans who do not like the type of football he's playing. They believe that he's too negative, he's too defensive, and they want the old Manchester United back, that dominating, attacking football threat. And I'm sure that a lot of Manchester United fans are anxious to see those days come back. Whereas Pep Guardiola, when you think about the team that he has, all he has to do is reinforce the team. And I'm wondering, why does he need to reinforce? Because, from the back all the way to the front, he's doing very well. He's got superb players everywhere.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about where do they need to strengthen Man City. Potentially another centre back, maybe. Laporte's come in, but Company might not hold up next season, so that's another centre back.
Yes, of course, yes.
Fernandinho, he's in his 30s now, so potentially never hold a midfielder. Attack-wise, Aguero's in his late 20s. It's interesting. They can still reinforce with younger players, of the same quality. But again, there's not a lot of quality players out there in the market. They might go back for Mahrez, which for me, I'm quite scared by, to be honest. I mean, Mahrez in that team as well. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, mate, to be honest.
Yes, of course, you're right, But, for Pep Guardiola, he's a winner, and he wants to make sure that win, on Saturday, or certainly the winning of the league, becomes the standard for Manchester City. So he wants to make Manchester City what Barcelona was when he was there, and I think that he's going to make it very difficult for the rest of the team to catch up with him, because, he's set up the bar, he set up the benchmark, and that means no losses, or very minimal losses, very minimum draws, and every game has to be a winning game.
Right. Well, that's our time, Pascal. I'd like to thank Luke the Duke Watkins. Pascal Join us again next week for another Pep Talk UK podcast. Don't forget to let us know what you think. Hit the subscribe button and we will be back next week. Thank you.
Pep Talk UK.